3rd and 4th century Roman vessels in the form of fish like this have either a cracked off rim or a furnace finished rim. These have furnace finished rims. Also, though it's difficult to see in the photograph, the body has light optic or dip molding. The vessel begins with a substantial gather on a medium-sized blowpipe. This is going to be an optic process. It's going to go into an optic mold or a dip mold. First, the gather is shaped with a block. This makes the glass perfectly round, concentric with the blowpipe, and somewhat egg-shaped. The blowpipe is held up. In the case of optic molding or dip molding, the goal is to go into the mold with a thin-tipped bubble. The gather is elongated, made tapered, ideally about the same shape and size as the inside of the mold. The marvering chills the skin. It's reheated before going into the mold. It's blown forcefully. Reheated and inflated, and the bubble is divided into 2 sections, an upper part for the long tail and a lower part for the body of the fish. With more reheating and elongating and blowing, the tail becomes longer and the body becomes larger. A fairly narrow constriction is made near the blowpipe. Spinning elongates the tail tube, and it also elongates the body bubble. And when the body and the tube are about the right shape and size, the bubble is flattened. This is done with the blowhose attached because during the flattening, air has to be blown into the blowpipe to keep the bubble from collapsing. The tip is heated and then divided into 2 parts to make the upper and lower lips. The flatness of the body is reaffirmed. The eyes are added. These are tiny bits of glass added and cast off. This is the casting off process. Next, a thin trail of glass is added around the neck to define the area of the gills. Tiny fins near the base of the body are added. Trails are added to the top and the bottom and tooled. The gather is cast off and the tooling begins. Throughout the process, the vessel is occasionally flashed in the furnace to keep all parts well above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Next comes the transfer to the punty or pontle. The vessel is broken from the blowpipe and the end reheated. And after about a minute or so, the glass softens at a temperature of around 1,300 degrees. The glass is reheated and a thin thread added just below the rim. This is thoroughly reheated and softened because wraps like this break easily if not melted in thoroughly. The tubular tail area is heated, the rotating stops, and gravity causes the vessel to distort. The vessel is flashed so that everything is the same temperature, and it's broken off the punty, placed in the annealer for slow cooling.